theological retrieval, is that something that evangelicals can even do? If Protestantism started 500 years ago, maybe our tradition is just so tiny, relatively speaking, that we can't do much in terms of going back.
Yeah. Well, and I'll just define the term theological retrieval too here as I answer that question, because I think a lot of people don't necessarily know that term. Or my experience has been a lot of people have an overly technical view of what retrieval is, and they think, oh, that you have to, have some sort of specific academic protocol in order to do that. And I just want to clarify that all I mean by theological retrieval is using historical theology to do theology today. So it's very simple, and anyone can do it. It's just a matter of pick up Augustine's Confessions and start reading, and that's retrieval. It's to the extent that you're learning from that. So retrieval is not a highly technical method. It's a set of instincts. One of the ways I try to justify the effort is to say that as Christians, we're doing theology as part of a spiritual community. Part of what it means to be a Christian is that we're a part of the church. And we're brought not just to Christ, we're brought to this spiritual family. And that family extends not just throughout space, but also throughout time. And so our brothers and sisters in the faith that we need, and they're part of our family, we need to hear their voices, and we need to hear their perspective and incorporate what we can learn from them as we do theology today. So, I think your question was about, can we do that as Protestants? And I would say this is the main change that I've gone through in my own thinking. I somehow got the idea growing up, going to evangelical churches, that it's sort of like this. If you think of church history as 2,000 years and Protestant history as 500 years. So you've got 1/4 of church history as Protestant. I mean, it's very approximate numbers, but so I somehow had the idea that being a Protestant means, well, my main tradition is this 500-year tradition. And then, you can make a second, more tentative step into the previous 1,500 years. And I've just changed to go to almost the opposite tilt, to the point now where I'd say, well, actually, our main tradition is the 2,000-year tradition of the entire church. And then secondarily, we think of ourselves as Protestant. And the reason I think that is because I think that's what Protestantism initially was designed to be. Mm-hmm. I think that's what the reformers themselves understood themselves to be doing. They were explicit that their effort was not to recreate the church, but to reform the church. And they even cast their whole effort as Protestantism as a going back to the purity of the early church.
Yeah.
I love referencing Calvin's quote at one point where he says, all we're trying to do is go back to the purity of the 4th century. And he lists all these 4th century theologians. And even Luther. Luther was not afraid to criticize the Roman Catholic Church. But even Luther was very strong in drawing from the church fathers to oppose what they understood as these sort of accretions that developed during the medieval era that they saw as corruptions both spiritually and theologically. So I would say absolutely yes, evangelical Protestants specifically, and Protestants generally, can and should do retrieval from all of church history. What it means to be a Protestant is not to slice off 3/4 of church history from your own community. Rather, what it means to be Protestant is to see the Scripture as your ultimate authority over all 2,000 years of church history, including Protestant church history. So nothing in Protestantism is sort of, off limits for critical evaluation.
Hi there, my name is Kurt Jiris. I'm an evangelical theologian, and I've come to realize that Bart Ehrman is correct.